I can't believe it. Kojima has done it again. Death Stranding 2 is a universal improvement over the original game. It is better in every single way. If you enjoyed the original game, there is no doubt in my mind that you will love Death Stranding 2. If you didn't like it, well, maybe you'll still like this one. Let's talk about it. Kojima has put a far greater focus in making Death Stranding 2 feel like a video game. The best part of any game is leveling up or learning new skills. In Death Stranding 2, after every single delivery, there is something new to unlock. Either you get a new skill, a new gun, a new vehicle. It makes every action you take feel rewarding. In Death Stranding 1, it felt like the gameplay was only in service to the story, that you were pushing your way through annoying delivery missions so that you could be trauma dumped on by Kojima with hours of cutscenes. In Death Stranding 2, there's far greater focus in making the deliveries feel fun and rewarding. The greatest criticism of the original game is that it felt like a literal walking simulator. Well, within the first hour of the sequel, you unlock vehicles. This is a massive game changer for players who thought the original game was too slow and too time-wasty. That way, if you don't care about stealth, you can very quickly complete the missions and get the dopamine of new skill points and new items. The driving itself isn't about skipping gameplay either. It's not like a fast travel system. It is just as complex and just as interesting as the walking was in the original game. You have giant vehicles that are extremely hard to control, or tiny vehicles that are super fast, but if you hit a single rock, will explode. That way, you still have to engage with the primary mechanics of the game, that is building new structures to allow you to more easily deliver packages that are connected over the internet, meaning if other players build structures, you can use them, silently connecting the entire player base together. And these structures are more important than ever. The original game's gameplay, once you got good, there were no challenges left to conquer. Because once you know how to move Redis around, you have essentially mastered the game. This is different in Death Stranding 2, because the environment attacks back. Not only does this make walking around harder, as you have to deal with avalanches and landslides and storms, but the structures you create can now be destroyed. You have to put more effort into creating permanent solutions for your postal journey. But walking back and forth is only half the gameplay, because the combat has been greatly expanded. For Kojima, old habits die hard, because this is basically Metal Gear Solid. The gameplay is just like Metal Gear Solid 5, but not quite as expansive because it's not the main focus. The combat feels much better than the original game. It is up to the standards of any other third-person action game. So, to compensate for this, you have new tools, new weapons, all of which are unlocked by engaging with the game, making every delivery feel more important. In the original game, combat felt greatly disconnected. Like it really shouldn't have been a part of the game, because the walking simulator part was more cozy or comfy for gamers who don't like fighting people, and then you have random tacked on combat. In the sequel, combat can be completely ignored if you want it to. But if you are to ignore the combat, you're going to have to more greatly engage with the walking simulator aspects. The cars are more likely to get you in combat than walking around and being stealthy. That way, the type of player who hates the standard walking sim gameplay will have more fun engaging with the combat, and the type of player who likes the walking sim gameplay does not have to engage with it. This extends all the way to the boss fights. See, boss fights didn't really make sense in the original game. The point of a boss fight is you are being tested on mechanics the rest of the game taught you. But you aren't going to learn anything if you don't engage with the combat in the first place. This is solved in the sequel because the boss fights themselves can also be ignored. You can completely skip some boss fights, but for those who choose to engage with them, have some of the best boss fights in the Metal Gear Solid series. I mean Death Stranding. Although you can skip the boss fights, trust me, you do not want to miss this. One of the bosses is Kojima himself, except given psychic powers where he can throw buildings at you. This is a spoiler-free review, so I won't be showing the boss fight here, but trust me, defeating Kojima himself in his own game is the greatest gaming experience I think I've ever had. And this level of spectacle is present with all of the boss fights. And with better gameplay also comes a much better story. Or more importantly, the story is way better integrated with the gameplay. The story is sprinkled lightly throughout the entire game, making every single individual delivery feel more important, as you get a small crumb of story after every single one. And that story has the exact same Kojima flair you expect from every Metal Gear Solid game. It is fun and wacky and silly and a bit heartfelt. The only problem I have is Kojima has clearly been affected by the Hollywood virus. If you've seen any modern movie, it falls into the exact same trappings as those. That it's a bit too left-wing and it's a bit too formulaic. The fact that there is a gay sex scene in this game does not surprise me. It's the sheer volume of gay sex that is disturbing. Kojima found it necessary to explore the ideas of sexuality and how it connects people in this game. But I don't think I need to see that connection made so many times. I know people are going to call Kojima gay for this, but it's clear that his real fetish is feet, because there are multiple female characters that keep taking their shoes off. There is one that is specifically pointed out that she likes to take her shoes off all of the time. Again, I have no problem with a bit of fetish content in the game. It's the sheer amount that's crazy. And the story itself contains themes that a 16-year-old girl would write in her diary. It quite literally makes a point about not building walls, but building bridges instead, and that humanity is too obsessed with weapons and less with friend making. Admittedly, I do wish America could have been better friends with the Middle East. Perhaps if we just had a little more gay sex, things could have turned out better. Funnily enough, that's not even the most insulting part of the story. Kojima puts an analog for Solid Snake within the game and makes him a part of one of those many gay sex scenes where he has to watch his two crushes have sex with each other. And then, by the end of the story, he dies. So he literally makes Snake a cuck, a gay cuck, and then kills him. This is quite literally Joker 2 levels of fan hatred. But I think Kojima gets away with it, because all of us want to say fuck you to Konami. And this is just one last fuck you to that shit company. And finally, the graphics are stunning. This is one of the most beautiful games I have ever seen. From the picturesque mountains to the horrifying storms, all the way down to the perfectly crisp asshole of Solid Snake. If you could find a better looking game, I would tell you you're lying. And even with all of that detail, the game runs perfectly. It runs perfectly on console and PC. Unreal Engine wishes it could get games this pretty that run this well. So, should you buy it? If you liked the first one, absolutely. If you didn't like the first one, I would give it a try anyway, and just try and play the game with a more combat focus. Now, I think if you've been paying attention, or maybe you've seen some other reviews, you would know that I have not played this game. I didn't play 1 second of it. Are you crazy? Do you really think I'm gonna play a fucking walking simulator made by Kojima so he could stroke his own fucking ego? The game's shit. Don't believe a thing anyone's saying. Even if it's good, it's probably bad. I don't want to pretend to be a fucking postal worker. I don't want to pretend to work at McDonald's. Look, Metal Gear Solid 4 was the last good Kojima game, and it wasn't even good. Kojima clearly wants to make movies. He's obsessed with movies. This game randomly has actors in it for no reason. Why should you play a game when he clearly doesn't even want to make games anymore? Is walking around really a game? You could play QWOP if you really wanted to. Anyway, game's probably fun. Bye guys, make sure to subscribe for more reviews that are totally legitimate.